Have you ever stepped into a new city and felt both excitement and fear at the same time? Imagine this. You arrive at a busy airport. The sound of announcements echoes around you. People rush past, and you clutch your suitcase tightly. You are far from home, in a place where everything feels new, the language, the streets, even the smell of the air seems different. This is the moment when living abroad begins, a moment full of possibility, but also full of small fears. You might wonder, will I understand people? Will I make friends? Will I be able to manage daily life? These questions float in your mind as you step out of the airport and take your first deep breath of foreign air. As you walk to catch a taxi, the city feels alive. You notice signs you cannot read, people speaking fast, cars honking, and the unfamiliar rhythm of life around you. You realize that your English will now be tested not in a classroom, but in real life. A simple greeting like, "Hello, how are you?" now carries more weight. It is not just a phrase, it is a key that can open doors to new friendships and experiences. And this is exactly what makes your journey interesting. The first challenge comes quickly. You check into your new apartment, but the forms are confusing. The receptionist explains something, and although you understand some words, many slip past. You feel a little panic, but you take a deep breath. You remember a small trick your English teacher told you. Focus on the main words, not every word. Apartment, key, contract. You nod and try to repeat the words out loud. Speaking slowly, carefully, helps you understand. And in that moment, you realize that learning English abroad is not about perfection. It is about connection, about trying. That evening, you go out to buy food. The grocery store is full of unfamiliar products. You ask a worker, "Where is?" and point to a picture on your phone. He smiles and says, "Aisle 3, next to the bread." You repeat the words slowly to yourself, "Aisle 3, next to the bread." You feel small success. It is a tiny victory, but it builds confidence. Every small conversation, every question, every smile from someone you speak to becomes a step forward in your journey. And this is the first lesson of living abroad. Courage matters more than knowing every word. By the end of your first day, you are tired but satisfied. You sit by the window and watch the city lights. You think of your family back home, of the world you left, and of the adventures waiting for you tomorrow. Living abroad is not just about learning English, it is about learning yourself. It is about stepping out of comfort and discovering what you can do when everything is new. And tomorrow, will bring a new challenge, a new conversation, a new chance to grow. The next morning, you wake up to the sound of birds outside your window. You open the curtains, and the city looks alive. People are walking fast, buses are moving, cars honking, and the smell of fresh bread from a bakery floats in the air. Today, you decide, will be different. Yesterday was exciting, but today is about understanding, about really listening. You know that learning English in real life is not the same as learning in a classroom. In a classroom, everything is slow. The teacher repeats words, explains clearly, and you have time to think. Outside, life moves fast. People speak quickly. Words come in waves. Sometimes you understand a little, sometimes almost nothing. And this can feel frightening. You step outside and try to listen. A man passes by and says something quickly to his friend. You catch a word or two, coffee, later, park. Slowly, your brain works like a puzzle. You try to fit the pieces together. He is probably inviting his friend for coffee later in the park. You smile quietly. Even though you didn't catch every word, you understood enough. This is the first step. Listening in a new country is about picking up the most important words and ignoring the rest for now. You repeat the sentence quietly. Coffee later. Park. You say it out loud. It feels good. You are practicing English without even knowing it. Next, you go to the bus stop. The bus arrives, and the driver announces stops quickly. Next stop. Market Street. Central Library. City Hall. Your heart races. You know these words, but hearing them so fast is different. You take a deep breath and focus on the first word, Market Street. Then the next, Central Library. You whisper the words, Market Street. Central Library. City Hall. Slowly, your brain begins to catch the rhythm. You notice that people speak in patterns. Words are sometimes shortened. Going to becomes gonna, want to becomes wanna. At first, it is confusing, but you start repeating them in your mind. You say quietly, gonna, wanna, and laugh at yourself. It feels strange, but it is real English. When you reach your stop, you step into a cafe. The smell of coffee and pastries makes you smile. You order a coffee, trying your best English. Hello. I would like a coffee, please. The barista smiles. Sure. One coffee. Anything else? You nod slowly. No, thank you. The first real conversation feels small, but it is important. Every word you say in real life builds confidence. Every sentence you hear and understand teaches your brain new patterns. As you sit down with your coffee, a local woman at the next table smiles and says, "Hi, are you new here?" You nod. Your hands shake slightly as you respond, "Yes. I arrived yesterday." She smiles again. "Welcome. How do you like the city so far?" You pause. Your mind searches for the right words. It is big and busy, but interesting. She laughs gently. You are doing great. It takes time, but you will get used to it. You notice something important. She speaks slowly now, clearly, using simple words. She repeats key phrases. She is helping you understand without making you feel bad. You realize that people are usually patient if you try. English is not about perfection. It is about communication. If someone wants to understand you, they will listen carefully. And if you want to understand them, you focus on keywords and patterns. You take another sip of coffee and repeat her words quietly. You are doing great. Takes time. Get used to it. Slowly, your brain begins to store these phrases for future use. After coffee, you decide to explore the city. Walking down the streets, you listen to conversations around you. A shopkeeper talks to a customer. Do you want a bag? The customer replies quickly, No, thank you, I have one. You repeat quietly, bag. I have one, thank you. Your brain notices patterns again. English speakers often start with a question, then answer, then a polite thank you. You start practicing quietly in your head, imagining yourself in the conversation. Later, you go to a small park. Children are playing, people are jogging, and birds are singing. You sit on a bench and listen. A man nearby says, Hey, let's meet at 5? You catch the key words, meet. 5. You understand he is asking someone to meet later. You repeat it in your mind, meet. 5. Slowly, your brain begins to pick up the rhythm of natural speech. It is different from textbooks. It is faster, less perfect, but more alive. The afternoon passes quickly. You make small efforts, asking directions, ordering food, saying thank you, and listening to responses. Every interaction teaches you something new. Every conversation, even short, is practice. You begin to understand that listening is not just about hearing every word. It is about noticing patterns, keywords, and tone. Some words are important, some are filler. Your job is to catch the meaning, not every single word. By evening, you are tired but happy. You sit on a bench, watch the city lights, and reflect. Today, you learn that listening in a new country is challenging. Sometimes it is frustrating, sometimes confusing. But every day, your brain becomes stronger. Every day, you catch a little more. You realize that listening is a skill, like swimming or riding a bike. The first days are difficult, but with practice, you improve. Before going home, you take one last walk. A street musician is playing a guitar. People stop, listen, smile, and clap. You stand quietly listening. You repeat some words you heard during the day: coffee, park, meet. 5. Thank you. You feel proud. These small victories build confidence. And you know, tomorrow, listening will be a little easier. Your ears are waking up to the rhythm of English. Your mind is learning to understand, not just translate. Finally, you return to your apartment, tired but satisfied. You make a small list of new words and phrases from today: coffee, meet, park, thank you, bag. You repeat them slowly, clearly. You smile. Each day, each conversation, each small success adds up. And this is the real journey of living abroad. It is not just about learning English. It is about listening, understanding, practicing, and slowly, step by step, becoming part of the language around you. Tomorrow will bring new conversations, new challenges, and new victories. But tonight, you celebrate your progress. You understand more. You spoke more. And slowly, day by day, you are becoming confident in English. The next day, you wake up feeling both excited and nervous. You know that living abroad is not just about understanding signs, buses, or menus. It is also about people, friends, real connections. And friendships in a new country can feel like a big challenge. How do you start? What do you say? What if people don't understand you? These questions float in your mind as you get dressed and step outside. The city feels familiar now, a little less strange than yesterday, but still full of surprises. You decide to go to a local park where many people gather in the morning. Some are jogging, some walking dogs, and some are sitting on benches, chatting. You sit on a bench and watch. At first, you just observe. You notice how people greet each other. A smile, a nod, a simple "Hi, how are you?" You realize that greetings are the first step to conversation. They are small, simple, but very important. You practice quietly to yourself. "Hi, how are you?" "I'm fine, thank you, and you?" You smile. Repeating these small sentences feels strange at first, but you know that repetition helps your brain remember. After a few minutes, a young man sits next to you. He has a friendly smile and a relaxed posture. He says, "Hi, are you new here?" Your heart races. This is your first real opportunity to make a friend. You take a deep breath and answer slowly, "Yes. I arrived 2 days ago." He nods, "Cool. Where are you from?" You pause, then say, I am from Bangladesh." He smiles, "Nice. How do you like the city so far?" You think carefully and answer, "It is big, busy, but interesting." You notice that your sentences are short, but you feel proud. You are communicating. You are making yourself understood. He laughs softly and says, "Don't worry. You will get used to it. I was new here too once." You realize that sharing small stories is a way to connect. You ask him, "You live here long?" He answers, "Yes, 5 years." Suddenly, you feel curious. 5 years. That means he has experience. He knows the city. And maybe, just maybe, he can help you feel more confident. You spend the morning talking to him. At first, you understand only parts of his sentences. Words come too fast sometimes, and idioms confuse you. He says something like, "Let's grab a bite after this. I know a cool spot." You catch grab, bite, cool spot, and nod. You don't understand every word, but you get the meaning. Slowly, your brain learns a valuable lesson. In conversations, you do not need to understand every single word. Understanding the main idea is enough. And over time, the small unknown words will make sense from context. As you talk, you notice your confidence growing. At first, your sentences were slow, short, careful. But now you try slightly longer sentences. I like the park. It is peaceful and people are friendly. He nods, smiles, and replies in simple English, helping you understand. You feel encouraged. Speaking English in real life is not about grammar perfection. It is about making people understand your thoughts. You realize that mistakes are okay. They are natural. They are part of learning. Later, he invites you to meet some of his friends at a cafe. Your heart beats faster. Meeting a group is more challenging than one person. Will they understand you? Will you feel shy? You take a deep breath and agree. At the cafe, the group greets you warmly. Some speak fast, some slow. You listen carefully, picking up keywords. Coffee, cake, weekend, movie. You repeat quietly to yourself. And slowly you respond, yes. I like coffee and cake too. Everyone smiles. You notice that even small sentences are enough to join a conversation. During the chat, someone asks about your hometown. You answer, I come from Dhaka. It is big, crowded, but lively. They nod, showing interest. You see a small smile on their faces. They are listening. They are curious. And this moment teaches you another lesson. People appreciate effort. Even if your English is not perfect, trying to speak, trying to explain, trying to connect matters more than correctness. After the cafe, you walk with your new friends to a nearby park. You notice the differences and similarities between your culture and theirs. They talk about their weekend routines, their hobbies, their favorite foods. You try to join in. I like walking and reading, sometimes cooking. They nod, smile, and ask questions. Each question is a small practice. Each answer is a small victory. You realize that real-life conversations are the fastest way to improve. Listening, speaking, repeating, asking questions, this is learning in action. You also notice something important. Confidence comes from practice. At first, you felt nervous, worried about saying something wrong. But now, with each interaction, you feel more relaxed. You try small jokes, short stories, and simple opinions. I think this city is beautiful, but sometimes loud. They laugh. Your small sentences create connection. And that laughter, that smile, that nod is more powerful than grammar rules. By evening, you return home, feeling both tired and happy. You remember your first day when you barely spoke. You compare it to today. You asked questions, answered, listened, made a friend, joined a group conversation. You see progress. You realize that building friendships abroad is also about building your confidence. Every conversation, every small sentence, every smile helps. You sit by your window and reflect. You make a small list of phrases you use today. Where are you from? I like walking and reading. This city is beautiful. Do you want coffee? You repeat them slowly, clearly, imagining yourself using them tomorrow. You smile. These phrases are your tools, your keys to connecting with people. And you know something important now. Living abroad is not just about learning English from books. It is about learning English from people, from conversations, from smiles, From curiosity. Every interaction is a lesson. Every friend is a teacher. And every day, your confidence grows. Tomorrow, will bring new people, new conversations, and new chances to practice. And you're ready. You are ready to speak, to listen, to connect, and to enjoy the journey. Living abroad is exciting, but it is not always easy. Today, you wake up with a little nervous feeling in your stomach. You know that mistakes are part of learning English, and today you might make some. You think about yesterday, about the cafe and the park, and you smile. You spoke a lot, you listened carefully, and you felt proud. But today, you're ready for something harder, talking to strangers in more challenging situations, like the post office, the bank, or even asking for directions on a busy street. Your first challenge comes quickly. You need to go to the post office to send a package home. You take a deep breath and step inside. The clerk smiles at you and asks, "How can I help you today?" Your mind races. You prepared some words yesterday, but now it feels different. You take a moment and try to speak slowly. I want to send a package to Bangladesh. The clerk nods, but then asks another question quickly. Do you want standard or express delivery? You feel panic. The words standard and express are familiar, but hearing them so fast makes you hesitate. You frown. You want to answer, but you are unsure. Then you remember something important. Mistakes are okay. You smile nervously and ask, "Sorry, can you say again?" The clerk repeats slowly. Standard delivery. Takes longer, cheaper. Express delivery. Faster, more expensive. You nod and say, "Express, please." You feel relief. You just made a small mistake at first, but by asking politely and listening carefully, you solved the problem. You realize that mistakes are not failures, they are learning opportunities. After leaving the post office, you walk slowly through the busy streets. You think about your experience. You made a small mistake, but you fixed it. And in real life, that is what matters. Mistakes do not define you. Your willingness to communicate does. You repeat this idea quietly to yourself. Mistakes are okay. I can fix them. Saying it out loud helps your brain remember. Later, you decide to try ordering lunch at a small restaurant. You look at the menu and notice some unfamiliar words. You try to read them slowly, but some words are confusing. You call the waiter over and say, "Excuse me, what is risotto?" The waiter smiles and explains slowly, "It is rice, cooked with vegetables, and a little cheese." You repeat, "Rice, vegetables, cheese." You order it, and when the food comes, it looks delicious. You taste it and feel proud. You asked a question, clarified, and learned a new word. Small mistakes turned into learning. In the afternoon, you meet your friend from yesterday. He notices your thoughtful face and asks, "Everything okay?" You tell him about the post office and the restaurant. He laughs softly. Mistakes. They happen to everyone. The important thing is you try, you ask, and you keep learning. You nod. He continues, "When I first came here, I made so many mistakes. I said the wrong words, misunderstood people, and sometimes felt embarrassed. But every mistake taught me something. And now, look at me. I understand most people, and I can help others." This conversation teaches you something very important. Everyone struggles at first. Mistakes are normal. Even people who are fluent today once stumbled, mispronounced words, or misunderstood conversations. You realize that fear of mistakes should not stop you from speaking. In fact, mistakes are the fastest way to learn. Each mistake is a small teacher guiding you toward improvement. Later, you decide to go to a local market to buy fruits. You pick up an apple and ask the vendor, "How much is this apple?" The vendor says a number too quickly. You do not understand. Your heart races. You try again, slowly. "Sorry, can you say again?" The vendor repeats slowly. You nod and hand over money. You bought an apple, and even though you didn't understand the first time, you solved the problem. You smile. Another small victory. As the sun sets, you reflect on the day. You realize that living abroad teaches you patience. Patience with others, patience with yourself, and patience with the language. Sometimes, conversations are confusing. Sometimes, people speak too fast. Sometimes, you make mistakes. But these challenges are not walls, they are doors. If you try, ask questions, and repeat, you will pass through them. You sit by your window and think about your journey so far. You have met people, made friends, ordered food, sent packages, and explored the city. Every day is full of challenges. Some are small, like mispronouncing a word. Some are bigger, like misunderstanding directions. But each challenge is also an opportunity. You repeat quietly, challenges help me learn, mistakes help me grow. Saying it slowly and clearly helps your mind remember. Before going to bed, you write down 3 small mistakes from the day. First, misunderstanding the clerk at the post office. Second, not knowing the word risotto. Third, missing the price of the apple at first. Then, you write what you learned from each mistake. For the clerk, you learn to ask politely for repetition. For the risotto, you learn to ask for explanations of unknown words. For the apple, you learn to repeat numbers slowly. You smile. Mistakes are not scary. Mistakes are lessons in disguise. Finally, you feel grateful. Grateful for the challenges, for the mistakes, and for the opportunities to learn. You realize that learning English abroad is not just about vocabulary or grammar. It is about courage, patience, problem-solving, and curiosity. And slowly, with every mistake, you are becoming more confident, more capable, and more fluent. Tomorrow will bring more challenges, more mistakes, and more lessons. And you're ready. Because you know something important now. Mistakes are not failures. They're your teachers. They're proof that you are learning. They're signs of growth. The next morning, you wake up feeling curious. Yesterday, you learned a lot about mistakes and how to handle them. Today, you decide to focus on something different, the city, its culture, and how people live their daily lives. You step outside, and the streets are buzzing with activity. The smells, sounds, and colors are different from what you remember at home. You take a deep breath and smile. Living abroad is not just about learning English, it is also about discovering a new way of life. You start your day with a walk through the local market. Fruits, vegetables, breads, and spices line the stalls. The vendors greet customers warmly. You notice how they speak to each other and to the buyers. "Good morning. Fresh tomatoes today. Sweet oranges here." You repeat quietly, fresh tomatoes, sweet oranges. Your brain begins to notice the rhythm and flow of natural English, especially in casual conversation. You realize that language is alive, it moves with people, culture, and daily life. A vendor notices you looking at the apples and says, "Do you want to try one?" You nod. "Yes, please." He hands you a small, shiny apple. "Sweet and juicy," he says. You smile and repeat quietly, "Sweet and juicy." You taste the apple. It is delicious. You realize that simple phrases describe life around you. By listening, repeating, and trying, you are learning English in real life. Next, you visit a small cafe near the market. People are sitting, drinking coffee, reading newspapers, and chatting. You decide to sit and watch. A group of friends laughs together. They speak fast, and you cannot catch every word. But you try to listen for keywords: coffee, weekend, movie, park. You repeat them quietly to yourself. Slowly, your brain starts to catch patterns. Conversations are often full of repetition, gestures, and small words that help you understand. You notice the importance of observing people as they communicate, not just listening to words. After coffee, you decide to try a local bus to visit a museum. Boarding the bus is a little scary. You remember yesterday at the post office and cafe and tell yourself, mistakes are okay. I can ask questions. You approach the driver and ask slowly, "Excuse me, does this bus go to the museum?" The driver nods and says, "Yes, this one. Take 2 stops. Get off at City Museum." You repeat quietly, 2 stops. City Museum. You feel proud. Even small interactions are practice, and every time you try, your confidence grows. On the bus, you watch the city pass by. Buildings, shops, and parks scroll past the window. People speak to each other in English, and you try to listen. Sometimes you catch phrases like, "See you later, I will call you. What do you want to eat?" You repeat them quietly. Slowly, your brain begins to recognize common expressions and patterns of speech. You realize that everyday life is full of lessons. Every interaction is a chance to learn, and every word you hear is a teacher. At the museum, you explore exhibitions about the city's history and culture. You notice the plaques are in English, and you read them slowly. Some words are new: architecture, tradition, festival. You repeat them: architecture, tradition, festival. Then you notice that your brain is not just memorizing words. You understand ideas. People built beautiful buildings, celebrate festivals, and live their lives in ways that are sometimes different, sometimes similar to your own culture. You begin to connect language with life, not just grammar. After the museum, you walk to a nearby park. Families play together, children run, and people relax. You sit on a bench and watch. A man nearby says to his friend, "Let's play frisbee." You catch the key words: play, frisbee. You repeat quietly, "Play frisbee." You notice how small words carry meaning. You understand what is happening even without knowing every word. It is like a puzzle where you have the main pieces. You practice imagining the story behind the words. You also notice customs and habits. People greet each other with smiles and small talk. Shops close at certain times. Buses follow a schedule. People eat at particular hours. You try to follow the rhythm of life. You say to yourself slowly, "I notice habits, routines, culture." By observing and participating, you are learning English and the way people live. This is a deeper kind of learning. In the evening, you try cooking a simple local dish at your apartment. You read the recipe in English and try to follow each step. You stumble on some words: sauté, simmer, garnish. You repeat them slowly: sauté, simmer, garnish. Then you try to act them out, using the small amount of English you know. The dish turns out okay, not perfect, but you feel proud. You realize that learning English is not only about speaking or listening. It is also about doing, trying, and connecting words with action. Finally, you sit by the window, watching the city lights. You think about your day. You went to the market, cafe, museum, and park. You listened to conversations, asked questions, repeated words, and practiced speaking. You cooked a meal using English instructions. You notice progress. You understand more, you speak more, and you feel more connected to the city. You make a small list of words and phrases from the day: fresh tomatoes, sweet oranges, see you later, play frisbee, sauté, simmer, garnish. You repeat them slowly. Each word is a reminder of your day, your learning, and your growing confidence. You realize that living abroad is not just about surviving. It is about exploring, observing, participating, and connecting. English is the tool that allows you to do all of this. As you go to bed, you feel grateful for the day. You learned new words, practiced speaking, listened carefully, and discovered new parts of the city and culture. You feel more confident. You understand that everyday life is full of lessons, and the more you engage, the more you improve. Tomorrow will bring more adventures, more discoveries, and more opportunities to practice English naturally. And you're ready. Living abroad is exciting, but it can also be lonely sometimes. Today, you wake up and feel a little quiet inside. You think about your family and friends back home. You miss them. You think about the cozy streets of your hometown, familiar food, and voices you know. Being in a new country is wonderful, but it can also feel strange and lonely. And that feeling is normal. Almost everyone who moves abroad experiences it at some point. You decide to take a walk outside to clear your mind. The streets are busy, people are laughing, talking, and going about their day. You notice a cafe where people sit alone, reading or sipping coffee. You decide to go in. Sitting quietly, you watch the world around you. You realize something important. Even when you feel lonely, you are not alone. There are many people here, each with their own story, each living their own challenges. You quietly repeat this idea, I am not alone, even when I feel lonely. Saying it slowly helps your mind feel calmer. After a while, you decide to practice your English. You write a short diary entry about your feelings. I feel lonely today. I miss my family. But I am learning. I am growing. I will make friends. I will be okay. Writing helps you organize your thoughts. You notice that expressing your feelings in English, even simply, is a way to practice the language and also to understand yourself. Later, you meet your friend from the cafe. He notices your quiet mood and asks, everything okay? You explain slowly, I feel a little lonely. I miss home. He smiles kindly and says, I understand. I felt the same when I first came here. It is normal. You will feel better. Let's go for a walk. You realize that sharing your feelings is powerful. Speaking about emotions in English is a challenge, but it also builds connection and understanding. You walk together in the park. The sun is warm, children are playing, and the city feels alive. Your friend shares his story of moving abroad. At first, I felt lonely. I missed everything familiar. But I tried to meet people, even when it was hard. I practiced English, joined clubs, and slowly, life became easier. You listen carefully, repeating keywords quietly. Lonely, missed, meet people, practice, easier. You feel inspired. You understand that overcoming loneliness is a skill, just like learning English. It takes small steps, courage, and effort. After the walk, your friend introduces you to a small group of people who enjoy similar hobbies. Some speak slowly, some faster. You listen carefully, catching words like books, music, movies, weekend. You try to speak slowly, sharing your interests. I like reading and listening to music, sometimes cooking. The group smiles. Even small sentences create connection. You feel the loneliness inside you slowly lifting. Conversation, connection, and participation help your mind feel lighter. Back at home, you reflect on the day. You understand that loneliness is part of living abroad, but it can be managed. Small actions make a big difference. Talking to a friend, sharing feelings, joining groups, practicing English, observing life around you. You repeat quietly, loneliness can be managed. I am not alone. Repeating it slowly makes it real. Later, you try an online activity, a virtual language exchange. You meet someone from another country who also wants to practice English. You introduce yourself slowly. Hello, my name is. I live in. I like learning English and exploring new places. They smile and respond kindly. The conversation is simple, short, and sometimes you misunderstand. But you try, ask politely, and repeat. Each small interaction helps your confidence. You realize that technology can also help overcome emotional challenges. Even when physically alone, you can connect with people around the world. Before going to bed, you write again in your diary. Today I felt lonely, but I met friends. I joined a group. I practiced English. I felt better. Writing your feelings and achievements helps you notice progress. You smile. You understand that living abroad is a journey not just of learning English, but also learning to manage emotions, to adapt, and to grow as a person. Finally, you make a small plan for tomorrow. You will wake up early, go for a walk, visit a new cafe, and practice speaking to at least 2 new people. You feel ready. You realize that emotional challenges are natural, but with small steps and effort, you can overcome them. Each conversation, each smile, each connection helps your mind feel lighter, your English grow stronger, and your life abroad feel more like home. You close your eyes and reflect on an important truth. Loneliness does not mean weakness. It is simply part of change. Living abroad teaches patience, courage, and resilience. And slowly, you realize that your emotional growth is as important as your language growth. Living abroad is exciting, but sometimes life presents challenges that you cannot predict. Today, you wake up knowing that learning English is not only about talking to friends or exploring the city. It is also about handling real-life problems, situations that test your courage, quick thinking, and language skills. These moments are important because they teach you how to use English in practical ways. Your first challenge appears when you wake up and discover that the water heater in your apartment is not working. You need a hot shower before leaving for the day. You take a deep breath and decide to call the maintenance service. You dial the number and wait. A person answers quickly. Hello, how can I help you? Your heart races. You try slowly. Hello, my water heater is not working. Can you help, please? The person nods and asks a few questions. What is the problem exactly? When did it stop working? You answer carefully. It stopped yesterday. It does not heat water. During the conversation, some words are difficult to understand. The person uses terms like thermostat, fuse, reset. You pause. You ask politely, sorry, can you say again slowly? The person repeats slowly. You nod and take notes. Slowly, you begin to follow instructions. You learn that solving real-life problems often requires patience, careful listening, and polite asking for repetition. Mistakes or misunderstandings can happen, but communication is possible if you stay calm. After the call, you realize an important lesson. Emergencies or problems can be stressful, but they are also opportunities to practice English. You are not just learning words. You are learning to explain, understand instructions, and solve problems. You smile quietly to yourself. Problems teach me English and life. Later in the day, you go to the bank. You need to open a small account for daily expenses. This is a formal situation, and it makes you nervous. You step inside and are greeted by a teller. Hello. How can I help you today? You reply slowly. Hello. I want to open a bank account. The teller smiles kindly and asks questions about your ID, address, and work. You listen carefully and answer, "Here, my passport and address letter." You notice that speaking clearly, slowly, and politely helps the conversation go smoothly. At one point, the teller uses a word you do not know. Do you want a debit card or a credit card? You pause. You do not fully understand. You repeat the key words quietly. Debit, credit, card. Then you ask politely, "Sorry, can you explain the difference?" The teller explains slowly in simple words. You understand and make a choice. You realize that asking questions is not a weakness, it is a tool. Being honest about what you do not understand helps you solve problems and practice English at the same time. In the afternoon, you face another challenge. You are walking home and notice that your phone battery is almost dead. You have an important message to reply to your new friend. You enter a small shop to buy a charger. You ask slowly, "Excuse me, do you have phone charger?" The shopkeeper smiles and shows you the options. You repeat quietly, "Phone charger, yes, thank you." Small sentences, simple words, polite tone, this is enough. You realize that English is not about long, perfect sentences. It is about communicating clearly and solving real problems. Later, you take a bus and notice that someone has dropped their wallet on the seat. You are unsure what to do. You remember lessons about honesty and communication. You speak slowly to the driver. "Excuse me, someone left wallet on seat." The driver thanks you and calls the owner. You feel proud. Not only did you help someone, but you also used English in a real, meaningful way. You repeat quietly to yourself, "English helps me solve problems and help others." As evening approaches, you reflect on your day. You faced problems with the water heater, the bank, buying a charger, and even helping someone with a lost wallet. Each situation was challenging, but you managed. You listened carefully, asked questions politely, and used simple, clear sentences. You understand now that handling real-life problems is one of the fastest ways to improve your English. You sit by your window and make a small list of useful phrases you used today. "Can you help me, please?" Can you say again slowly? "Sorry, can you explain?" "I want to open an account. Do you have?" Repeating these phrases slowly in your mind strengthens your confidence. These are tools for real-life communication. Finally, you feel grateful. Life abroad is not always easy. Problems happen. Emergencies happen. Confusing situations happen. But each challenge is also a chance to learn, practice, and grow. You smile quietly, knowing that the next time a problem occurs, you will be more confident. You will listen carefully, speak clearly, ask questions politely, and find solutions. You close your eyes and reflect on an important truth. Living abroad is not just about exploring cities, making friends, or enjoying new experiences. It is also about facing challenges, solving problems, and learning to communicate effectively in English. And every challenge you face is a step toward fluency, independence, and confidence. Today feels different. You wake up and notice a small smile on your face. You feel proud, not because of a big achievement, but because of small victories. Living abroad is full of small wins. Sometimes they are tiny, like successfully ordering a coffee, understanding a bus announcement, or making a new friend. But each one matters. Each one builds confidence, improves English, and reminds you that progress is happening, even if slowly. You decide to start the day by reviewing your notes from the past week. You see phrases like, "Where are you from? Can you say that again, please? I want to open a bank account." You smile. A week ago, these sentences felt difficult. Today, repeating them feels natural. Your brain is remembering them, your tongue can speak them, and your ears can recognize them in conversation. You realize that progress is not always obvious in the moment. Often it is quiet, slow, and almost invisible until you notice it. You decide to take a walk through the city. As you walk, you notice small details that you understand now. A street sign says library, and you immediately know where it is. A cafe menu has words you recognize: coffee, sandwich, juice. A bus announcement says next stop, Central Station, and you understand without needing to ask. These small recognitions make your day feel brighter. You quietly say to yourself, "I understand more today than yesterday." Saying it slowly makes the progress feel real. Later, you meet your friend at a park. You share your small wins from the week. "I ordered coffee by myself and understood the bus today." He smiles warmly. See? You are improving every day. Little victories count. They add up. And soon, big things will feel easier too. You feel motivated. Celebrating small wins is as important as learning the language itself. Each small success is proof that your hard work is paying off. After the park, you visit a small library. You borrow a simple English book and start reading aloud slowly. At first, some words are difficult, but you remember yesterday's lesson. Don't worry about every word, focus on meaning. You read sentences like, "The city is busy but beautiful. People are friendly." You repeat slowly, "The city is busy but beautiful. People are friendly." You notice that your pronunciation is improving. Your listening and speaking are connected. Small steps are showing results. During lunch, you order a local dish at a restaurant. The waiter asks questions, and you respond confidently, "Yes, I want this, please." You even add, "Thank you very much." The small gestures, simple phrases, and polite manners create a positive experience. You feel proud of your ability to communicate, understand, and connect. You repeat quietly, "Small wins make big progress." In the afternoon, you meet a new friend who recently moved to the city. You share tips and experiences. "I practiced listening on buses," you say. "I made a friend at the park." She smiles. "I also feel nervous sometimes," she admits. You realize that even small successes are shared victories. Seeing others grow alongside you makes the journey feel less lonely. Celebrating progress is not only personal, it can inspire others too. Later, you try a new activity, cooking a simple English recipe from a website. You read instructions slowly: chop vegetables, boil water, add spices. You follow each step carefully, repeating the words aloud. The dish turns out okay, and you feel proud. Not perfect, but achievable. The lesson is clear: small steps, repeated practice, and patience lead to growth. You quietly repeat, "I can do small things every day." As the sun sets, you sit by your window and reflect. You remember the first days, the fear, the mistakes, the misunderstandings. Then you compare them with today, ordering coffee, understanding bus announcements, borrowing books, making friends, cooking. Each small win adds up. Your confidence grows. Your English improves. Your comfort with life abroad increases. You realize that celebrating these moments is part of learning. Small wins are fuel for motivation, courage, and persistence. Before going to bed, you write in your diary, "Today I understood more English. I spoke with my friend. I read a book and cooked a new dish. I feel proud." Small wins matter. Writing helps you recognize progress. It makes you aware of how far you've come. You smile. Growth is happening quietly, steadily, and naturally. Finally, you repeat an important truth. Living abroad is not about being perfect. It is about trying, learning, practicing, and noticing small wins. Each word understood, each sentence spoken, each connection made is a victory. And when you celebrate these victories, no matter how small, your confidence grows, your English improves, and your life abroad becomes richer and more enjoyable. Today feels a little different. As you step outside, you notice things that feel unusual, even confusing. Culture shock is real, and you are experiencing it for the first time. The streets are busy, people talk loudly in cafes, the traffic is chaotic, and the food smells strange but delicious. You smile, but inside, you feel a little overwhelmed. Culture shock can be surprising, even for those who are confident in their English. Your first encounter happens at the grocery store. You pick up a product and try to read the label. The words are unfamiliar: ingredients, expiration, dairy, organic. You pause. You realize that English is not just spoken in conversations, it is also in signs, labels, and instructions. You take a deep breath and try to understand. Slowly, you repeat the words: ingredients, expiration, dairy, organic. Even if you do not understand everything, you focus on key words. Your brain is learning to notice patterns and meanings. Next, you visit a local cafe for lunch. The menu is foods you have never heard of before. You point at a dish and ask the waiter slowly, "Excuse me, what is this?" He smiles and explains, "It's a type of pasta, with vegetables and cheese, popular here." You repeat quietly, "Pasta, vegetables, cheese." You realize that part of adapting to a new culture is learning to ask questions, clarify, and be patient. You do not need to understand everything immediately. Curiosity and practice help you adapt. As you walk through the city, you notice social customs that are different from home. People greet each other with handshakes or hugs, sometimes just a nod. Shops close during certain hours for breaks. Tipping at restaurants is expected. You feel a little confused. You pause, observe, and say quietly, "I need to watch and learn." Observation is an important part of adapting. You notice gestures, expressions, and routines. Slowly, you begin to understand how things work. Later, you attend a small community event, a local festival in the park. Music, dancing, and food fill the space. People smile and invite you to join. You hesitate, unsure of the customs. A woman gestures to dance with her. You try slowly, following her steps. At first, you feel awkward. But as you continue, you laugh, smile, and enjoy the moment. You realize that embracing culture, even when strange or unfamiliar, helps you adapt. Your English is also improving because you are interacting, listening, and speaking in real situations. In the afternoon, you face a small misunderstanding. You ask a taxi driver to take you to the library, but he seems confused. He asks questions quickly. Which library? Main one or the branch? You pause. You do not understand immediately. You take a deep breath and ask politely, "Sorry, can you say Slowly, the driver repeats and you understand. You choose the right library and get there safely. You realize that culture shock also includes misunderstandings. Patience, polite questions, and clear communication are your tools to adapt. Back at your apartment, you reflect on the day. Culture shock can feel overwhelming, confusing, or even frustrating. But you notice that your ability to adapt is growing. You repeated new words, asked questions, observed routines, and tried new customs. Slowly, unfamiliar things are becoming understandable. You repeat quietly, I can adapt to new culture and new language. Saying it slowly makes it feel real. You also notice that adapting is not only about learning new habits, it is also about mindset. You remind yourself, the world is full of different ways of living, speaking, and thinking. None are wrong, they are just different. You smile and write in your diary, today I faced culture shock. I asked questions, observed, and tried new things. I am learning to adapt. Writing helps you notice progress and gives you a sense of accomplishment. In the evening, you decide to watch a local TV program in English. Some words are fast and some jokes you do not understand, but you focus on the general meaning. You repeat words and phrases quietly, festival, music, dance, recipe, market. Even small comprehension feels like a victory. You realize that learning to adapt is also learning to understand English in real-life contexts. Before going to bed, you make a small plan for tomorrow. You will try new foods, greet people in the local style, and practice asking questions when you do not understand. You smile. Each small step is a way to adapt to culture and language. You understand that culture shock is not permanent, it is temporary, and every day you grow more comfortable, confident, and fluent. Finally, you repeat an important truth. Living abroad is not only about speaking English. It is about understanding a new culture, observing routines, asking questions, and being curious. Adaptation takes time, patience, and effort, but it also opens doors to new experiences, friendships, and opportunities to practice English naturally. Living abroad is not just about learning English or meeting people. It is also about learning to take care of yourself, manage your time, and build independence. Today, you wake up early and notice the quiet morning streets. The city feels calm, and you realize it is the perfect day to focus on routines and self-reliance. Independence may seem difficult at first, but every small step matters. You start the day by preparing breakfast. You go to the kitchen, wash your hands, and think about what to cook. You open the fridge and notice eggs, bread, and vegetables. Slowly, you decide to make a simple omelet with toast. You read the instructions on a small recipe card, crack eggs, beat eggs, add vegetables, cook on pan, serve with toast. Some words are familiar, some are new. You repeat slowly, crack eggs, beat eggs, add vegetables, cook, serve. You follow each step carefully. By the time breakfast is ready, it looks nice and tastes good. You feel proud. Small tasks like this build confidence and independence. After breakfast, you plan your day. You write a simple to-do list. 1. Go to grocery store. 2. Visit library. 3. Walk in the park. 4. Meet friend. Writing a list in English helps organize your thoughts and also practices your language. You repeat the tasks quietly: grocery store, library, park, meet friend. You notice that planning your day in English is a small but powerful way to become independent. First, you visit the grocery store. You know the layout better now. You pick up items, read labels, and ask questions when needed. Excuse me, where is milk? The clerk points and smiles. You repeat quietly, "Milk, here. Thank you." Every small interaction feels easier. You realize that independence grows when you practice asking questions, understanding directions, and completing tasks by yourself. Next, you go to the library. You want to borrow a book in English. You ask the librarian, "Hello, I want to borrow a book, please." The librarian smiles and helps you find a book. You read quietly on a bench for a while. Even small routines like borrowing a book teach you vocabulary, reading skills, and confidence. You notice progress from your first days. Before, these tasks felt overwhelming. Now, they feel achievable. Later, you decide to take a long walk in the park. You notice people jogging, children playing, and families sitting together. You practice speaking quietly to yourself, repeating phrases you learned. People are friendly. The park is beautiful. I like walking here. You also observe routines. People follow paths, clean up after themselves, and greet each other. By noticing habits and repeating phrases, you combine language learning with real-life observation. In the afternoon, you meet a friend at a cafe. You practice ordering lunch independently. "I would like a sandwich and water, please." The waiter smiles, and your friend notices your confidence. You realize that independence is not just about doing things alone, it is about using English in everyday situations and trusting yourself. Each time you try, your confidence grows. Back at home, you reflect on your day. You cooked breakfast, shopped for groceries, visited the library, walked in the park, and met a friend. Each task, each interaction was an opportunity to practice English and build self-reliance. You quietly repeat, "I can manage my day and speak English." Saying it slowly reinforces your confidence. You also notice another important point: routines create stability. Living abroad can feel chaotic at times. People speak fast, streets are busy, and everything feels new. But simple routines, making breakfast, planning your day, walking, meeting friends, give you structure. They help you feel in control. You write in your diary, "I followed my routine today. I cooked, shopped, read, walked, and spoke English. I feel more independent." Writing makes your progress visible. Before going to bed, you prepare for tomorrow. You decide to wake up early again, exercise, review vocabulary, and practice speaking with at least one new person. You smile, knowing that building independence is a journey. It takes practice, patience, and small daily steps. Finally, you reflect on an important truth. Living abroad teaches more than language. It teaches responsibility, planning, problem-solving, and independence. Each day you complete tasks, communicate in English, and manage your life, you grow stronger and more capable. English becomes a tool for independence, not just a subject to study. Today feels like a special day. You sit by your window and look out at the city. The streets are familiar now. You notice the shops, the cafes, and the parks. The city that once felt strange and overwhelming now feels like a place where you belong. You smile and think quietly, "I have come a long way." Reflection is important. It helps you see growth, appreciate progress, and prepare for the future. You remember the first days abroad, the nervous feeling when you arrived, the fear of speaking English with strangers, the small victories that felt huge at the time, greeting a neighbor, ordering food, catching the bus. You remember the mistakes that made you nervous, the misunderstandings, the times you had to ask someone to repeat. Now you notice that those moments were not failures, they were teachers. Each mistake, each challenge, helped you improve. You quietly repeat, mistakes helped me grow and learn. You think about friendships. At first, speaking to new people was difficult. You worried about saying the wrong words or being misunderstood. But now you have friends. You can ask questions, answer, and join conversations. Even if your sentences are short or simple, you communicate clearly. You realize that connection is more important than perfection. You smile and think, English helps me connect with people. You also remember challenges and culture shock. The first time you saw unusual customs, foods, or routines, you felt confused and overwhelmed. At first, everything felt strange. But slowly you adapted. You observed, asked questions, and participated. You learned that patience, curiosity, and openness are powerful tools. You repeat quietly, I can adapt and understand new cultures. You notice your routines and independence. Cooking breakfast, planning your day, shopping, visiting libraries, walking in the park, meeting friends, these are small steps that built confidence and fluency. Daily routines are more than tasks. They're opportunities to practice English, solve problems, and grow as a person. You think, my daily routines make me stronger and more confident. You reflect on listening and speaking skills. At first, conversations were confusing. Words came too fast. You did not understand everything. But with practice, you learned to focus on the main idea. You learned to ask politely when you did not understand. You repeated phrases quietly to yourself. Slowly, your listening and speaking became easier. You feel proud of your progress. I understand more and speak more confidently, you think. Then you think about the small wins. Each moment, ordering coffee, asking directions, borrowing a book, cooking a new dish, helping someone was a victory. You realize that these small wins add up. They show that learning a language, adapting to a new culture, and living independently is a journey of small steps repeated daily. You repeat quietly, small wins lead to big progress. You also consider emotions. There were lonely days, moments of doubt, and times when you missed home. But you learned to cope. You shared your feelings, joined groups, practiced English, and connected with people. Emotional challenges are part of growth. You repeat, I can handle feelings and keep learning. Looking forward, you think about tomorrow and the days after. You know the journey continues. There will be new words, new people, new challenges, and new experiences. But you feel ready. You have learned valuable skills: listening, speaking, observing, asking questions, solving problems, making friends, adapting to culture, managing independence, and celebrating progress. You repeat slowly, I am ready for the future. Finally, you smile and feel grateful. Grateful for the lessons, the people, the mistakes, the victories, and the city that became your new home. You feel a deep sense of accomplishment. Living abroad is more than learning English. It is learning about life, resilience, patience, curiosity, and courage. You quietly whisper, I am growing every day, and I will keep growing. As you close your eyes, you understand a simple but powerful truth. Progress is not always fast, and it is not always visible in the moment. But with patience, effort, practice, curiosity, and courage, you grow every day. Every conversation, every small task, every challenge, and every smile contributes to your journey. You are not just learning English, you are learning to live fully, adapt confidently, and enjoy the journey of life abroad.